In a matter of days, Dr. Li Wenliang went from treating patients to becoming one. The 34-year-old ophthalmologist diagnosed Saturday with the Wuhan coronavirus, dying less than a week later in the same hospital in which he worked. But if action had been taken when he and others started sounding alarms, the severity of the outbreak might have been understood sooner. It was back in late December when Lee first warned friends on WeChat about a SARS-like disease going around. Lee sent a group message saying that a test result from a patient quarantined at the hospital where he worked showed a patient had a coronavirus. But hours after hitting send, Wuhan city health officials tracked Lee down, questioning where he got the information. Within days, they closed the suspected source of the virus, this seafood market, and they announced the outbreak. But instead of being praised, Lee got a call from Wuhan City Police.
Things are happening literally every hour. This is what's changed. Temperature. We've got a temperature probe.
The Syria conflict continues to escalate. Now Russia has said that the Syrian air defense almost hit a passenger plane while intercepting Israeli missiles. On your screens are the visuals released by Syrian forces. It shows them intercepting missiles fired by Israel over Damascus. Moscow has said that a plane with 172 passengers on board had to make an emergency landing at Russia-controlled Syrian airbase. Interestingly, Russia is an ally of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Now, this comes as the Syrian army advanced into the strategic town of Sarakeb in rebel-held Idlib province. The town sits on a junction of two key roads, which President Bashar al-Assad's government is seeking to retake in order to revive an economy ravaged by almost 9 years of war.
People smuggling in the English Channel between France and Dover here, the closest point just over 30 kilometres, is nothing new really, and the method of transport of choice has traditionally been in the back of a freight truck, in a ferry, or maybe some have tried their luck on trains. But now it seems that the smugglers have switched their tactics, putting migrants in these small, rigid, inflatable boats and letting them go across the channel themselves in the hope that they will reach British shores. As you say, yesterday there were about 8 incidents in the English Channel when rescuers from Britain went there and they rescued around 90 migrants. That's the official number, although I'm told it's probably around nearly 100 yesterday. And then just in the past hour or so, those sources have told me that rescuers are once again out in the channel behind me. They've picked up apparently 30 migrants so far, but apparently they're also still looking for further boats.
Clutching what little possessions they have left and wrapped up against the biting cold. These people are demanding Serbian authorities let them pass into Hungary. At a sit-in protest in the border village Kalabija, they hold signs demanding they be allowed into Hungary, a member of the European Union.
I didn't go there to get money from the European Union. I'm only looking for a better life. You know, my country have a war. I cannot go back to Syria.
It's not just Syrians trying to cross. Refugees from Afghanistan, Iraq, Yemen and other countries have found themselves here after fleeing war, poverty and persecution. As Serbian police follow their protests and Hungarian police block the border fence, they're left with few options.
The harvest from this Palestinian farm in the Jordan Valley was supposed to make its way into the Israeli market. But not anymore. Israel's banning all agricultural produce from the occupied West Bank after a decision by Palestinian officials to cut down on some Israeli imports. Samer Sawafta owns around 25 acres of land and plants them with zucchinis and cucumbers. He says the Israeli ban is going to have a devastating effect on his business. Farming is the main source of income for Palestinians living in the Jordan Valley. They've been selling vegetables to Israel for decades.
This is one of the main markets for fresh produce in the occupied West Bank. Vendors here say that now there are too many on the market, and that has pushed prices down.
On Wednesday, the Palestinian government responded to the Israeli ban by barring some Israeli products from entering the West Bank.
Hello. Are we actually sure that he's dead?
Well, actually, there was a report from New York Times last week saying that he was killed in an operation. And in between, I tried to confirm this with people on the ground from al-Qaeda, and it wasn't confirmed. Till today, the American president confirmed it. And we see in this audio that they issued in between, where we see that it is written, Sheikh Qasim al-Rimi, without the usual, may God help him, or may God preserve him. So may God help him or forgive him, no, meaning dead, and may God preserve him, meaning he's still alive. So it's a real something particular for jihadi groups not to say anything after the name of the person, of the leader, which makes us think that he might be actually dead, despite the fact that they didn't confirm it from their side.
These young boys from the Mexican state of Guerrero are learning combat techniques. They are the newest and youngest recruits of a community-run militia. Their ages range from 8 to 12.
We can't even go outside because the school we used to go to is in another town controlled by criminal gangs. And if we go there, we could be kidnapped.
Last year, there were nearly 1,600 homicides registered in Guerrero, according to official sources. Violence has become so common, many residents see no other choice than to put firearms in the hands of anyone able to wield them. Recent images of armed children dressed in fatigues and lined up like soldiers have circulated on Mexican social media. They've also sparked new concerns from children's rights groups.
Medical cannabis may be legal in West Virginia, but it's still not available due to hiccups in the implementation of the law. Despite that, the House of Delegates Rules-Making Committee already wants to change that law to allow the sales of marijuana flowers that are currently banned. Most medical cannabis states allow the flowers.
In states that have successful medical cannabis programs, they allow patients more options, and we're just allowing the patient to purchase the plant in its natural, unprocessed form. That's all.
Other advocates say selling the flowers can lead to lower prices since more of the plant is being used to make medicine.
Flower is a key component. In the state of Ohio, 80% of their sales comes from flower. So without the selling of flower, patients aren't going to want this product, and this industry is going to fall on its face.
LGBT activism has been in the headlines for the last 12 months across Europe, from controversial comments from Polish archbishops to an increased presence in the Balkans. And on Sunday, it will be Switzerland who are heading to the polls in a national referendum which could criminalise any hate speech against the LGBT+ community. But what exactly is going on here? Well, let's try and break it down for you. In 2018, Switzerland expanded their existing discriminatory laws to include things like race, religion and ethnicity. This would be an expansion expansion of that law to include sexual orientation. Now, what it would mean is that any public hate speech in a public environment, such as on the street or in a cafe, well, that would be criminalised. But what wouldn't be included is any hate speech or anti-LGBT sentiments spoken in a family context.